Hi, my name is Jason Kidner. I am an Enterprise Solutions Architect here at Valiantys. And in this video, I'm going to do a short overview of the Financial Manager by Tempo app. Few words of introduction. Financial Manager is a Jira app from Tempo, which is a long-standing and highly acclaimed vendor in the Atlassian ecosystem. Financial Manager, formerly known as Budgets, is a cost tracking tool to optimize ROI and meet financial goals. Financial Manager ultimately helps to answer the questions, what are my planned and actual expenses and or revenue for a given project? Manager does leverage the time tracking data from Timesheets by Tempo to deliver on that financial snapshot. So it does require Timesheets by Tempo for time tracking. Lastly, Financial Manager does have separate access permissions on a project-by-project basis to help control who can and who cannot see the sensitive data within each of these projects. So now I'm going to switch to a demo of the app. For that, I'm going to go to a demo instance here. Notice this is cloud, but Financial Manager also does exist at your data center. To get to Financial Manager, you go under the Apps dropdown, and you'll choose the Tempo option. This Tempo option is where you're going to find your Tempo timesheets, your planner, and your Financial Manager. So here I can come down, and I have a couple different Tempo apps installed, but I want to go to Financial Manager, which is the third one on the left-hand menu. When it finally loads, you'll see a couple different options, a couple tabs. First is the Projects tab. That's your main landing page, where you'll see the projects that you have permissions to see. There's also a Portfolios tab and a Reports tab that I'll show you later in this video. So for projects, the initial thing is to create a project. So I'm not going to create one, but I'm going to show you what the options are here. So you need to provide a name for the project. Then you provide the scope of the project. This is ultimately the work items that you're bringing in for the project. And along with these work items, you'll get those work logs. So you have a few options for your scope. You have a Jira filter. You can also bring in a structure if your company and your organization is using the structure app. You can bring in a whole structure, which again is very convenient because structures again have a whole scope that you're trying to define, potentially a project or an initiative, and it'll bring in all that data from the structure. You could also bring in one or more Jira projects, or you could bring in one or more Jira epics. So you have a few options there for scope. Then you're also going to be choosing a monetary-based project or a time-based project. The demo that we're going to show is a monetary-based project. This is probably typically what you're going to be using, but you can just do time-based. You can define an initial hourly rate that's going to be for all the members of your team, but I'll show you later how you can modify the hourly rates for the different team members. And then if it's monetary based, you pick a currency, and there is a long list of global currencies to choose from. So with that, I'm going to show you one of these projects, this demo project that I've set up. Notice what you see in this list is the scope. You see the status, which can be modified here. You can also see the initial budget, the actual cost, and the remaining budget, and other items like tags, owner, things like that. So when we come into a project, again, very quickly, we're going to see a few different tabs here. The Overview tab is like what it says. It's an overview of the budget, the total cost, the budget remaining, the revenue that's been generated in this project. And you see a nice graph here that includes various things like total cost, revenue, things like that, along the time frame that's been set for this particular project. This just happens to be the year 2024. And you see some other information here on the side around profit and accounts. This does bring in, again, Tempo accounts if those are being used for your time tracking. That brings these accounts in as well. For scope, again, this is going to go show you the different work items. Let me move my picture here. I'll just kind of leave this alone and just scroll down. So the work items in scope are going to show here, along with the cost, the revenue, the time spent on each of those work items within the scope. So you can see that level of granularity. The team tab is going to show you all the team members who are assigned and who are logging time on the different work items that are part of the scope of this given project. So you can see how much time they're spending, what their costs are, what their revenues are, what their billable time is, things of that nature. The expenses tab allows you to put in some one-time or ongoing expenses that are not related to labor costs. So whatever other costs that might be incurred within a given project can be added in here manually, and so those can be line itemed here as well, and those will come in and be calculated with your overall costs. And then lastly, you have configuration. There's a lot to go over here. I'm not going to go over it in depth at all, but just to highlight that in general, you can adjust the time frame of your project, the status. You can set your currency, the budgets, and you can set milestone budgets as well within here. You can do revenue tracking. You can set up project time approval, where the project owner here of this financial manager project can help approve time. So in addition to the approvals you have within Tempo timesheets with your teams, you can set up tags. This is where you would delete your project. You also over here have your members and the roles that they have within this project. And I want to note that the roles here are different than the roles that they have within a Tempo team. So you can set up different roles that they have in this particular project, and they can have one role. There are things called project attributes that have to be set up at the global level within Tempo, but they can be set up and be utilized here to basically, they're like, consider them like custom fields within a project, within one of these, again, financial manager project. Sharing is where you set up your access of who can see and who cannot see and what they can do, either view or edit this particular project. Then you have your rates, which the cost rate is going to be the cost that a given member of your team, how much they cost per hour to do their work. And you can have this set up just on a project by project basis. You can also use global cost rates that are set up within Financial Manager. You can also come in here and adjust a given rate on a user by user basis. So a lot of flexibility with cost rates. And then billing rates, this is again where revenue is being generated by someone on your team who's doing work for a customer, and that customer is being billed on an hourly rate for this particular team member. And again, you can adjust those billing rates per team member. You can also apply rates based on the Tempo accounts that are being used on the work items. So if different work items have different accounts on them, they can have a unique set of rates for the member, for the role that each of these members might be playing for that account. So again, a lot of flexibility with both cost rates and billing rates. So you can see how all this is set up within a project. Next, I want to quickly just show you how projects can also roll up underneath a portfolio. So under the portfolio tab, I've set up a demo portfolio, and this is basically just set up. We can configure this. So you can see that this is set up with just using one particular, do a summary here. So we can see a summary of this portfolio. It's just using the demo project. You could put multiple for financial manager projects underneath a given portfolio, and to see the aggregation, to see the roll up and the snapshot from everything rolling up to this portfolio. So you can set up multiple portfolios with multiple projects in them. And then lastly, you do have reports. And so this report section is separate from your reporting for Tempo timesheets or planner. But this is where you can set up a new report, give it a name, choose one of the financial manager projects or portfolios, and then you can select the report type. Actually, let me pick one of these. You can select the report type, actual cost, actual revenue, plan cost, plan revenue, and the time frame. You can even select some breakdown methods around time frame, and then you end up with a report. Let's look at this one for the demo project. This is based on for actual cost. It's broken down by quarter. So it shows, it's pretty simple. It's just me logging time in here. So it shows my rate, shows my effort, how much time I've spent, and then how much time is my effort costing. So, and there are, again, lots of options in the global settings. If you're a Tempo admin, there are various settings that come in with Financial Manager, especially around work rates and things of that nature. Let's see if we can load this again to get at this. There we go. So if I scroll down, I get to the Tempo projects where I can adjust some things around features, defaults, attributes. I can also adjust cost rates and billing rates as well. So that is Financial Manager, very quick overview. If you have any questions about Financial Manager or any of the other Tempo apps or anything in the Atlassian ecosystem, I would love to talk with you. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. You could also email me at jason.kidner@valiantys.com. And thank you for watching.